Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be painting a landscape scene. Quite simple, there's a few details on there, so it's not as straightforward as it may look. This is the actual reference, and I apologise, I've just noticed the bottom of the photograph has got a bit of a shine on it, so it doesn't actually fade like that. It's actually quite a dark spot in the photograph, but I do apologise for that. So in order to capture this scene, you may notice I've got masking tape, and that's just going to give me a nice straight clean edge, as I'm hoping that the pigment doesn't go through the tape, but we'll have to wait and see. So I've not tried this before, but I just thought I'd give it a go, and I'm just showing you how sort of wet my paper is, and you can see also that it's not wet all over the top section. So this is just to get the pigment moving, to get some nice blending for the clouds. It's quite a cloudy day, and for this scene I don't usually do too much work in the sky. I don't usually go over and you know, take my time or focus or anything. Usually it's a quick job, and I find that usually works with sky. But if you want something with a bit more detail in, a bit more cloud, then I'm just going for that approach. I'm taking my time, try and make sure everything's okay, and obviously wet and wet is probably the key thing in this stage. So you can see I'm actually using two palettes. I'm using my Winsor & Newton, and I'm actually using my White Nights palette. I need to use my White Nights a bit more so I can get used to the colours, but I wanted just the option of both, just so I can mix more colours. And I'm just added a bit more, I don't know if it's a magenta or bit of indigo perhaps, into the blue that I've made. I think initially it started off as a cerulean blue from a Winsor & Newton, but then I just dipped into some of the White Nights, and I think it's bright blue. I mixed a couple of puddles, there was about 3 puddles of blue, so I did those, and then just started adding a magenta, as I said, for the sky, for the shadows under the clouds, just to give it that bit of interest and give it a bit more sort of form and a bit of almost 3D-ness. And obviously because it's going on to wet paper, then it will start to soften, which is what I wanted. Just a soft cloud formation with bits of colouring. So the tape hopefully will give me a nice horizon line. I know in the reference photo it's quite a straight, flat horizon line, and then just to the right hand side you can see I've got a bit of tape sort of going up, and then a little bit of an angle, and then it goes a little bit higher on the right hand side, and that's, I'm just following the horizon line itself, so it's just raised. You can see, just gently take away the masking tape and hopefully all is well. And you can see I've not had any sort of run backs or going through the tape, which is really good. So I'm quite pleased with that. Just making sure that I do have the tape flush to the paper, that it doesn't sort of come up. So I'm quite happy with this sky. You can see there's nice colours, nice tones in there, and it goes all the way down to the horizon line, which is gonna, I think, it's just going to look a lot better once I get the hills and the sort of greenery in there. So just I did that, and now I'm just doing a bit of pencil work just so that I know where I'm going with my there's quite a lot of shadows coming down the hillside where the cloud sort of blocks the sun, and you get these big shadows cast along the hills, and it makes quite a nice effect. So that's one of the things I do like about this scene. So I just want to plan that with my pencil so that I know where is going to be in shadow, and where isn't. And then you got these nice big rocks in the foreground, which I'm just slowly sketching in, and then obviously popping in the shadow side, so I know where to go with that, because it does get a little bit confusing, you know, knowing where the dark is and where the light once you've put the pencil down. So I just find it helpful and useful just to go ahead and shade in some of those areas which are going to be in shadow. The scene that I'm painting is actually a place called Stoodley Pike. Although I've not got the pike in just yet, I wanted to save that till last. It's a place in Yorkshire, just on the South Pennines, I believe. And it's I've been up there a few times. I remember as a kid, at school, we had a trip to a place called Mankinholds, where we stayed in a hostel and did a bit of a hike to the top where the pike is. And there's teachers sort of told us it was a haunted place, so it was quite dark, and there's steps going up to the top where you can sort of walk around. There's a balcony up on the top, so it's a really nice view. You can see a lot of I guess Yorkshire and Lancashire, because it's not far from my hometown, a place called Tomeden. It's not far from Rochdale, where I was brought up, probably about 8 miles from there. And you got this really nice flat land you can see for right across, and it's really flat. And I really like the way the slither of yellow sort of light comes through at the top of the horizon line where the light's hitting the land. And then another thing which I always love about watercolour, it's just so unpredictable. The bottom sort of corner of the painting, it was supposed to be quite dark. I wanted to get that quite dark, but as it turned out, it looks almost like a mist, sort of fog, and so I wanted to leave that the way it looks. So it's quite effective. I quite like the way that looks. Let me know what you think in the comments, in the comment section. And if you're enjoying this video so far, please do give me a thumbs up, like this video, and it does help me to keep making content like this. So there's a few, I guess, patches of green where the light's hitting the distant sort of fields. So I wanted to get that in quite a strong green in places. And I think it's quite important as well to follow the land. So you don't want to be going at an angle or anything. So you want to follow the land, the contours of the land for the light and dark. And there's just a few hills. It's not very hilly. It's quite flat. And so I wanted to get that in. And you can see how the contrast on the rocks now, as I put the dark on, just helps those rocks to pop, to stand out a little bit. And then I'll be adding some textures into the foreground, the grassy sort of harsh rugged landscape, which is quite nice. So I'll just add a few colours here and there, and just a bit of dry brush, almost just rubbing the brush, as you can see on the surface, just to get the bits of colour that's in my brush, and whatever colour that is, just get that in the landscape. And there's all sorts of nice bits of red almost, and warmer sort of yellow ochre, and bits of green here and there. So I'm going to pop those in as well. And then finally I'll get the Stoodley, the pike itself, just on the top. You can see I've already done the pencil, and I'll be doing that, which is quite straightforward, I suppose. And that'll be the sort of finishing touch for this painting. So in the reference photo, there's actually a few more rocks, a bit more detail in those. But I just wanted to keep this quite simple, quite loose, I suppose. But also getting the overall reference. I wanted to do it quite similar. And now I'm just popping in the pike itself. So it's quite simple. There's just using the yellow ochre for the pike itself. And then on the right hand side there's a nice sharp contrasting tone, so it's quite dark as the light is coming from the left hand side. So you got this nice shadow on the right hand side. So I'll be popping that in as well. There is actually a pike just near me, Hartshead Pike, which I've not actually been to yet. I used to do my walks in the morning and see that on the horizon, and it don't look too far, but it's actually quite a distance from on foot anyway, probably a couple of miles. Probably got at least about a mile, close enough to about a mile to it, but never actually walked to the pike itself. So maybe that's something I could do and see what maybe there's a painting there that I could do, and it's quite similar to this one. I know the pike looks a bit off. I've got the shadow side for the main point is quite off, so we'll fix that. It needs to just, I think, just come into the center a bit more, and then it'll look a bit better as I'm just popping that in. So it's quite a nice scene, quite straightforward, I suppose, but you still got these things that happen, which are happy accidents, and I just like to let those things happen. Like I said, the mist in the sort of foreground, it looks quite effective, so I've let that go. And then I think the pike was just a little bit too dark, so I just lifted off some of that colour. So I'm just left to pop in my signature, which I wanted to do the bottom right corner in dark paint. And then it's the taking the tape off just to give that a crisp, clean edge, which I always like to do. So always looks better once the tape's been taken off. It makes the painting look a lot better, and almost gives you a view into what it'll look like when it's framed, if you're going to frame your paintings. And there we go. It's a painting of Stoodley Pike in Yorkshire on the Pennines, the South Pennines. I hope you like that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, give us a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.